All right, y'all. We're about to check out the video that made Jordan Peterson famous. All right, let's check this out.
I want to go talk to Peterson. Peterson, do you have any comments on the Nazi presence at your protest? The presence of Nazis and white supremacists assaulting people at your protest. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I don't like Nazis.
Then why are you?
Why were they here?
Well, how can I answer
Are there views in alignment with yours? At some point, you have to realize.
That's a foolish question. Look, if you want to know what my views are,
I've watched all of your videos. Yes.
Including
Yes, I have.
Yes.
then why would you ask such a question?
Because this is my interpretation of your videos.
Apparently,
That's not
All of the people who arranged the protest against you watched all of your videos.
It's like, do you want to
I
disavow?
have 150 videos on YouTube.
No,
You
your
are
lectures, which sparked the debate.
Okay.
Do
I
you
have
want to
150.
disavow the support?
Could you let
of
me
white-
talk to her for a moment?
Don't call me that, please.
So, I have 150 lectures on YouTube. There's 500 hours of my views.
Do you really
If
think that
wanna
you're
find
worth
out
all
what
of
they
that
were-
time?
So look, I will answer your question, okay? I've studied Nazism for a very long time. It's been 4 decades, and I understand it very well. And I can tell you that there's some awful people lurking in the corners, and they're ready to come out. And if the radical left keeps pushing the way
That
it's
sounds
pushing,
very much like a
they're
threat.
going to come.
That sounds very much
That's
like a
not a
threat.
threat.
That sounds very much like a threat. Would you like to disavow the physical violence? Trans people were physically assaulted at this rally in your name. Would you like to disavow that violence?
Yes.
So you wish that didn't happen, and you want to,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to post this online that you would like people to not to be more accommodating of trans people and people of color at your events in future.
I would
I'm
like
a
there
person
to
of
be
color.
no
Listen,
violence.
I'm a person of color, and I felt very accommodated here. I felt like my voice. Thank you very much.
I'm also former Muslim, and I feel like this guy's
I'm a
the
person
best.
of color.
I
There are
love
many
his
multiple
videos.
You wanted to
colors.
disavow. You wanted to disavow, and this is the disavow. I am not an advocate of violence. I'm speaking out the way I'm speaking out because I think this is a route to no violence. And violence is lurking. And you can say that sounds like a threat.
There was
It's not
no
a
violence at
threat.
our protest, though. There was violence at your protest. So what does that say about our
It's
views?
not my
That's
protest.
violence.
You know,
I
asking me continually freighted questions isn't very helpful if you
riot,
actually
then
want to
say
have a
it's all
dialogue.
false.
You have no idea if I'm your enemy. You have no idea about me.
You
know
won't use my
nothing about
pronouns, so I'm pretty sure you're my enemy. Yes.
Yeah, well, I know you think that, but I don't believe that using your pronouns is going to do you any good in the long run. I think it'll do quite the contrary.
What?
Is that your medical
Like,
opinion?
why, is that your medical opinion? Like, you
I'm
are
not a
aware that
doctor.
non-binary people are valid in the American
This isn't
Psychological
about
Association.
non-binary
Is that your
people.
opinion?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's about non-binary pronouns.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
I'm saying that that's
Did
what
you
I'm
come to the
about.
rally? Were you there when I spoke?
I've been here.
You know, I need somebody to send me the link that got them talking to this man like this. Like, what happened?
for this whole thing.
Okay, well, I don't know that. It's a genuine question. Look, I think that's what's happening is that we're pushing over a line we shouldn't cross. The newest legislation is requiring people to use.
But you are aware that that's being put in place so that we can't get fired. We need to be written into the Canada human rights legislation, or we can be fired for our gender identity.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, then why'd you make a fucking video about it? I've been denied housing as a trans person. These rights would protect me.
Denied housing?
I've been denied housing.
From the state or for the open market? So have you been denied housing, like, from the government?
It's illegal
From
either
the
way
government?
if we had
From the
human
government?
rights.
From the government?
I'm not-
Or have you tried to get a house like everybody else and they said, no, you're weird, you can't work? No, if the state has done that, that's a problem.
they said-
but if someone doesn't want to live with you, that's their right.
They said, no, you're trans.
not sure how you-
So no, if I had human rights, that wouldn't have fucking happened.
Yeah,
as
you're
I'm
weird.
concerned,
I don't want to live
as-
with schizophrenic
As far as
people.
I'm
I don't want to live with
concerned,
people who are
that's a
bipolar.
terrible
I don't
thing.
wanna live with
It's too bad that that's happened
So
to
you don't want us to, but you don't want us to have protections in the human rights bill that will allow me to have employment,
I don't
allow
want-
me to have housing security,
I don't want-
allow me to have medical care. That's what this is about.
That's
It's
what
not
you
about
think it's
infringing
about.
on your rights or making you learn a new
I
fucking
don't
pronoun.
think that's what it's about. What evidence do you have that attempting to transform the way that people use pronouns is going to produce a positive effect on
Because
society?
are you aware that there is a trans boy who killed himself in psychiatric care recently because he was continuously being misgendered by his care workers?
And that is my precise problem.
And there have been multiple recorded instances of trans people killing themselves because they are not being integrated into society. We are not looking for special treatment. We are looking to be able to integrate ourselves into society. And if you refuse to refer to us by our pronouns, which is not allowed to ask, singular they pronouns go all the way back to Shakespeare. It's not a new thing. If you refuse to let us integrate ourselves into society, you create alienation that results in suicide. We are in a suicide epidemic right now. What are you contributing to this as a psychologist?
Man, you know, you're almost impossible to talk to. You're so full of rhetoric. that it's impossible to listen to you.
The feeling
I would
is
be more
mutual.
than happy to listen to you.
Yeah,
I said I
really.
was devoid of rhetoric. And I did, yes, actually, I don't really think I am a rhetorician. Just so you know that. And you know, like, it's very hard to listen to you. I mean, it's very hard to attend to you
Because it's-
you rattle on in your with your ideological speech.
It's not
And I
ideological.
can't even hear
It's personal. That's what
It's not personal. You haven't said a personal thing.
I'm
Everything
talking
you've
about
said
something
so
that
far.
affects my community.
It's just that when you say the things that you say, it tends, even if you didn't mean it to, it attracts people like neo-Nazis and fascists because they see an avenue in what you're saying to do what they want. Even if that's not what you meant, they see an avenue in your in the idea of like a more abscondist form of free speech. They see an avenue in that to continue to spread their hateful ideology and to make more people hateful. So that's why the Nazis come here. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that's why that was.
I'm perfectly aware of that.
I have a calm, rational question.
Okay.
I won't get emotional with you. Who is this legislation harming? Who is
Harming anybody who wants to use their own words.
So in what capacities? Be specific.
Look, it's important that people are able to use their own words
Okay.
because that's how we think. And if
So-
the government starts legislating how we think, and
So
how
if
we
I
speak,
wanted
we're
to
gonna
call
be-
you
Hey,
she,
look, are you going to let me
if
finish?
no, I'm playing off of what you're saying. If I wanted to call you she and her and miss, because
I
that's
don't
my
care
freedom of
what you call
speech,
me.
and if everyone just called you that all the time, and that was the only thing,
Call me. Can't you tell?
Dang, I can understand like his frustration. Like, this is my second video watching him, and he gets interrupted so much. And like she said before she even asked the question, she said, "I won't get emotional." And immediately she gets emotional. I mean, she was as patient as long as she could possibly be. Well, yeah, that's what I'm experiencing here. Hold on.
I think that you don't care because you've never had to face that, and it's a common trend among people who have never had to face like transgender-related discrimination that you think it's not a big deal because you don't have to deal
I
with
didn't say I
it.
didn't think it was a big deal. I said I didn't care if people called me that.
Helps us from public institutions, but it does prevent us from accessing healthcare. And it does prevent us from accessing other services.
I'm not arguing about your rights.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. These things about our rights.
Legislation for trans
I'm sorry. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you realize that right now, if you were to kill a trans person, because only for the sole reason that they're trans, that would not be considered a hate crime. Sure, they could be convicted of murder, but not of a hate crime. And that's what this
I don't
bill.
see what
That's
this-
what.
what-
That's
Actually,
what
back
this.
in the States, they can use a trans panic defense
Yeah,
in almost
yeah.
all of the United States and get off by claiming temporary insanity because they were freaked out by the trans person.
I am not claiming for a moment that people who don't fit into the standard and traditional sexual categories or sexual identity categories
This is about
don't
gender,
face
though.
all sorts of trouble. They do. I just don't think that this is the way to fix it. In fact, I
You
think
do not a law that legislates protections from discrimination for trans people.
not
Is
this
a way to, you do not think that.
That's right. I don't think.
Have you read the laws are intentionally
to
worded?
bring as many
Most
people.
I mean, honestly, that's very true. What law has truly protected us, aside from it being in writing? You get what I'm like? Let's just be honest right there. Y'all let me know what y'all think below. Let's be honest.
laws involving human
Causes
rights.
much trouble to as many people as possible.
What would we gain? What would we gain from
There's
that?
a conspiracy of intent.
I didn't say it was a
conspiracy. You think there is a concentrated effort behind these bills in order to specifically make the lives of people worse, and that's why we create human rights legislation to make it.
I think
harder
that
for
people.
to
I think
live
that
their
people
lives.
often do things to make other people's lives worse. Don't you?
Well, clearly, as an example of this rally.
I am probably the most fervent anti-statist you will ever meet. I am an anarchist, and I do not believe that anyone who writes legislation has the interest of anybody but themselves and their special interest groups at heart. So don't come at me saying that I want to suck off the nipple of the government, okay? Because that's not who I am. What I'm interested is in that people I love are being assaulted, are being killed, are being discriminated against, are being kicked out onto the street, are freezing to death in the winter because
I'm
they're being
against
denied
that too.
shelter. And I feel.
But pronouns are too much to ask for you to show solidarity towards those
Can I
people.
just have a moment?
Sorry.
look, we agree that this is a thing that's happening. We agree that it's a reprehensible thing that's happening.
Okay, sure, let's agree on that.
I mean, I don't think that would be controversial to most people. I mean, apparently,
I agree.
apparently some
People
people
hear
think,
it was,
apparently to some people we're freaks because we can't have families or whatever. But what okay, whatever. Maybe that's not something you agree with. I don't know. I'm not going to put words in your mouth in that regard.
I agree with.
What I fail to understand is how you honestly feel, in your expert opinion, as both an educator, as an educated person, that not calling somebody by a pronoun that has been used to refer to, individual people.
Legislating it. It's legislating it is a necessity that I have an objection to.
Okay, so if there was this legislation was not on the table, if this legislation fails, let's say, if this is removed, you would be totally fine referring to me with they them pronouns.
Probably not they and them.
Probably not they and them. Why is
No.
that?
Well, because I don't think it's a tenable solution.
A
I don't think
solution
it's
to what?
I don't think it's the solution to the problem that you're trying to solve. I mean, it's not.
You
Look,
don't think
it's not
respect.
that easy to track that. I know that's how you.
You were literally saying
You can make up a word and make that a child's name, and you would refer to them by that name. Why is it different for a pronoun?
Well, it's different because it's different.
No, it's just as
you were
important.
just asked.
It's different because it's a pronoun for a lot of reasons.
So you
I
were
mean, one of the reasons it's different is that pronouns turn out to be very difficult to change. They're a closed linguistic.
Which is
category.
why we're using they them pronouns, which has historical continuity.
Yeah,
It is in the English language. It's in the Oxford English Dictionary.
Years and years and years. It's nothing new.
As an educator, okay, hold. Sorry, yeah.
You were asked, would you refer to me using they them pronouns? You said, no, I wouldn't. When asked why, you said, because I don't think it's a solution. When I brought up then it was basic respect and so on, what you said was, oh, I wouldn't do it if I was like coerced or whatever you said. Somebody literally just asked, would you do this for me? And you said, no, I would not show you that respect. I would not extend that amount of dignity to you.
That's not what I said.
Yes, you said
You
said that you would not use they them pronouns for a person.
Nobody
Yes, I did
asked.
say that.
Nobody asked anything about if I came like with a club and asked you to like use certain pronouns
makes
to
you
refer
think-
to me.
what makes
but
you-
I just asked, would you refer to me if it wasn't for this law? And I asked you to refer to me with they them pronouns. Would you? And your answer was no.
Not
So
if
you're
I was
concerned-
compelled to.
No, that's
But
not
we're
what
saying
you
if you
said.
weren't.
You just said no, and then when I started asking you about, you said it wasn't a solution. When you were asked, what is it not a solution to? You said something vague. We said it's about basic respect, and then you said not if I was compelled to. So no, when you were just asked, as a matter of respect, in fact, would you refer to a trans person who asked you to use they them pronouns, a pronoun which has a several
Not if I was
100-year
compelled to.
historical
But
precedent?
that's not what we're talking about.
Yes, it is because it's
We just
legislation.
we're saying if it wasn't legislation.
It's not legislation.
I've got to stop, guys.
legislation.
Look,
Never mind
there's
the
too
legislation.
many of you.
Okay, one simple
I've had
question.
enough. Sorry, I
Dr.
can't do this
Peterson,
anymore.
one simple question.
No, I'm done.
I thought we were
not for the
statistically
law,
irrelevant.
If it was
Well, yeah,
not
I mean,
for the
like,
law,
I don't
and a
exist.
trans person asked you, would you please refer to me by they and them pronouns? Would you refer to them by those pronouns?
Might depend on how they asked.
So no.
Why do you have
Literally
the authority
said,
to determine
please
whether or
refer
not
to me
they're
by
Why
those
do I
worthy or
have
not?
the
Why
authority
do you
to
have the
determine what I say?
Why do
What
you
kind
have,
of question
why do you
is
have the
that?
authority? Let me finish. Why do you have the authority to determine whether or not an individual is worthy of you using their pronouns? Like if I asked you, would you
Never mind.
please use they them pronouns for me? What?
It would depend on what I
What
thought of your
hoops
motivation.
do you want us to jump through?
Those are
What
my
do-
pronouns. Those are my
There's no
pronouns.
motivation.
No, I know. No one ever has any motivation.
We're
Those are my
trying to
pronouns and I want
survive.
to be-
Politics are a product of our lives and us trying to live in this world. We're not trying to
No,
live in
that's
this
a
world
partial-
as a product of our
you want me to
politics.
send you
I was
flowers?
apolitical before I came out as trans. I got into politics because I needed to survive, to advocate against people like you, no offense. I have one quick question. Okay, so they them pronouns are written into the Oxford English Dictionary, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It's actually the word of the year this year. And it does have historical continuity all the way back to Shakespeare. It is objectively an English word, singular they pronouns, grammatically correct. Do you think that you can choose to not respect something that is in the English language as a professor, as an academic,
think that I
that
can
you are
choose
going
to
to
do that?
that you're
Absolutely. I
that-
am choosing
but
to
you're
do that.
you're ignoring rules of the English language to go out of your way to disrespect students.
That's your opinion, and I'm not going
It is
to
my opinion.
disrespect students.
We're saying it's disrespectful
Anyway,
to our
I'm sorry.
I think this is a pure example based on feelings. And I think that he's trying to be as logical as he possibly can be based on facts. But I think it's a great dialogue overall.
You don't get to decide what's disrespectful to us.
I mean, they definitely both got some points. You feel me? I am your girl VCoop. That was intense. Oh my gosh. 9 piece in the VCoop to be exact. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Come over to the Coop Troop Live every single day except Sunday, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. Until next time, thank you for joining.